Okay, good morning, guys. The title and the objective are up on the board here. Now I'm going to move along, so I'm expecting you guys to ask to pause this video when you need it to be paused, so it'll give you more time to write the title and objective and anything else you guys need. But I'm just going to keep on moving on. Binomials, meaning we're having two terms and we're going to be multiplying them out, guys. Here is, now they start off a little bit goofy here, but let me get to what's really important, then we'll come back. What we're going to be using here is called FOIL. This is really probably the first thing that should go into your notes. FOIL stands for, you're going to be taking, and this is what's going to be going into your notes, F-O-I-L. Okay, you're going to be taking the first term times the first term. You're going to be taking the outer. That's awful. Outer term times the outer term. The inner term. And the last term times the last term. Okay, now right now this really doesn't make any sense whatsoever. It will in just a moment, guys. Let's get to this first problem here, which does not go into your notes. What is a simpler form? It doesn't say use FOIL method, but the FOIL method is really what I want you to use, guys. What you do is you draw an arrow from the first term, which is the 2x, to the first term on the second part, which is 3x. And then we're going to draw an arrow from the 2x to the -7, which would be your O. So the first times first was your 2x times 3x. Your O is the 2x times the -7, outside times outside. Your I is your inside times inside. So notice how I'm going to go along the bottom, and I'll start with the 4, and I'll draw it to the 3x. And else represents last times last, which is the 4 to the -7. Okay, so really in my mind, I honestly don't remember the word FOIL a lot, even though it can help students. I would rather just do this. When I do these problems, I know I'm going to draw an arrow from the 2x to the 3x. It's first times first. And then I draw an arrow over the top of that one to the -7. I go along the bottom from the 4 to the 3x, which is your inside times inside, and then last times last. Okay, let's take it one step at a time. First, I said I'm going to be taking 2x times 3x. If you actually work that out, you'd come up with 6x squared. Remember, x times x is x squared. When you take 2x times -7, you will come up with -14x. Now we're across the bottom. 4 times 3x is 12x, plus 12x. Across the bottom, if you take 4 times -7, you'll get -28. All right, what you'll realize is the middle two terms are like terms, the -14x and the +12x. They very commonly can be put together. For example, if you put them together, I'm just going to bring down the 6x squared. That didn't change at all. But this one and this one can be put together to get a -2x minus 28. And guys, we are all done with factoring, with FOILing those two binomials. Okay, this is the one that actually goes into your notes right here, and make sure you put the directions for it as well. And if you need it paused at any time, go ahead and do that. Now, it just becomes a habit or a pattern that you'll follow. You start with the x and you draw it over to the 4x, first times first. And then you go completely across, go across the bottom, and completely across the bottom. All right, let's start with x times 4x. That's going to give you 4x squared. When you take x times 3, you come up with 3x. When you take -6 times 4x, you come up with -24x. And the last one, you take -6 times 3 to come up with -18. The middle two terms can typically be put together, and it is true in this case. I'm going to bring down the 4x squared. 3x minus 24x would give you -21x minus 18. And that is your final answer. Okay, now using a table, guys, here's what it looks like. Some students really like this way. I grew up using the other way, so that's a little bit more my favorite, but here we go. Do not put this into your notes. The next one will go into your notes. Okay, so right now you'll make a box with 4 corners in it. Across the top, you put X, and a -3 goes on the second part. On the bottom, you'll put 4X, and you'll put -5. Now, what you do is you cross them up. So I wish I could show you my finger here, but you're taking the X times the 4X. See how you cross them up like that? Let me get rid of that. If you take X times 4X, you come up with, let me scratch that off there, you get 4X squared. Okay, so I'm going to run along the 4X and the -3. You get -12X. And now I'm going to go do this bottom left-hand corner. X times -5 is -5X. And the last one, you take -5 times -3, you come up with +15. 2 of them can typically be put together, and it's the 2 that are diagonal in this case. Our final answer is 4X squared minus 17X plus 15. And that is my final answer. Now, some people really like the table, and it doesn't make a difference. You really do get to pick what you like better. This is the one that goes into your notes, and do put the whole thing, especially the part that says use a table, so you know what method you're using. I got my 4 corners. We got 3X, a +1. We got X, we got a 4. And then we just cross them up with your fingers. 3X times X is 3X squared. 1 times X is 1X. 3X times 4 is 12X. And 4 times 1 is 4. Usually the ones that are diagonal, you can put together, and you can in this problem. My final answer is 3X squared plus 13X plus 4. Now, when I come back tomorrow, I'm going to ask you guys what method you guys like better, the table or drawing the arrows, and it's completely up to you which one you like better. I ain't going to lie to you guys, the table method is going to pay off later on. You will see it again, so not a bad idea to go that route. Now, notice how this one says using foil right here. So I did jump the gun because I didn't want to show you the other method. These 2 are good enough. When you draw your arrows for this one using foil method, it's the exact same thing, guys. 5X times 2X is going to be your 10X squared. 5X times 1 is plus 5X. Go across the bottom. -3 times 2X is -6X. And the last one would give you -3. Your final answer is 10X squared minus 1X minus 3. Now, which one's faster? Which method? It's about a horse apiece. Okay. More practice, guys. None of these go into your notes. Get to the next one. This is one that will work on day 2, so don't worry about this. And this last one. This is one where if you set up a table, notice it's a 3, it's a trinomial, 1, 2, 3, by a binomial. So when you make your table, it would look a little bit more like this. You'd have your 3X squared, X minus 5. On the side, you'd have 2X minus 7. Now you multiply them up, so we get 6X3. Cross them up, you get -21X squared, 2X squared, minus 7X, -10X. And the last one, you get +35. Now, usually if you look diagonal, you'll see some things you can put together. I have a 6X to the 3rd. Now, I'm looking here, right here. I hate to scribble everywhere, but that's where I'm looking. That would give you -19X squared. These 2, again, -17X, and a +35. There is a way of doing it using FOIL method where you go first times first, first times second, go across the bottom, here, and here. Now here's where it gets a little bit messy with this one. You got to go across the top again with the 5, so it would go here and here. And that would give you your 6 terms. So really, it's a little bit cleaner to use a table on this last one. Oh, and sorry, this one does go into your notes. I can't remember if I said that earlier, guys. So if we need to pause it and get that in there, no problem. Other than that, that should be it. and we will see you guys tomorrow. You need to replay this video. Just hit play again and see if you can get everything.